the Arab world, if you talk about innovation, it's a boring subject. Talk to me about something which I can touch and see. I learned from your questions more than you learned from my answers. The most valuable product is an idea, not quantitative. A virtual idea can be worth a whole country.
Where do you see our region in 5 or 10 years when it comes to innovation and how to get there?
You're touching on a very important subject. We only teach how to become a digital human being, and we test you on that only. And everything is digital.
Is it a parallel education system to the traditional one?
Completely new education system. This is what I said. Every 2 days, the world knowledge doubles. You cannot follow it. You need to create digital persons, not just digital machines.
What is being digital?
That
the ultimate goal for any nation is economic prosperity, because it is why we do anything. But to reach an economic prosperity, we need to have proper innovation, like you mentioned. Now, the bedrock for innovation at some level is intellectual property and patent applications, but also research publications. The problem that I see in our part of the world is that, and I'm sure you're aware of the Global Innovation Index from the United Nations, we're way behind. We're very way behind and lagging behind when it comes to innovation, production, technology exportation, even idea production and exportation. And we're not just lagging behind as in we're not in the top 20 or top 10. We're not even in the top 30. So the best country in our region is the United Arab Emirates, and they're between 30 and 34 for the past 10 or 12 years. It's not like there's also a trajectory where it's growing. Juxtapose that with, let's say, Singapore. Singapore is top 5. It has no resources. It barely can be seen on the map. Look at Switzerland. It's number 1 worldwide for the past 12 years. Look at China. China, before the year 2000, was behind all of the GCC and our region. Now it's in the top 5. So with that in mind, first of all, what's your feeling about how we're lagging behind when it comes to innovation, generally speaking? And do you believe we're lagging or no?
Yeah, and this is a very a subject that I talk about with great passion, and yet with the feeling of some sadness. Innovation is wealth. Innovation is power. Innovation is independence. No country can be independent if it does not provide self-sufficiency, which means being able to innovate and provide for all its needs through its own production. Our problem in the Arab world, if we talk, because that's the world I come from and I belong to. In the Arab world, if you talk about innovation, it's a boring subject. Talk to me about something which I can touch, can see. And I am one of the founders and thinkers about how to develop artificial intelligence, for example. And I wrote the first book in history in the world on artificial intelligence, and I'll give you a copy of my book. Artificial intelligence, as I explained in the book, is a myth. It is not artificial, and it is not intelligence. Artificial intelligence is nothing more than programming. Programming in the sense that, and with the feeling that always technology moves only forward. You cannot invent reverse. You cannot progress reverse. It's everything in this world, in any field, has to move forward. So what we call artificial intelligence is nothing but proactive programming. It's a program that has been programmed to interact with other programs. ما في أكتر من هيك. There is nothing more. It's not something that needs a special brain or is an injection you take and you become intelligent, or a course that you study. No, it's not. It's programming. That's why, to begin with, I always call on schools in our part of the world to teach programming from primary years. مش to become an expert after you graduate, you study programming. Programming must be taught like you teach languages. You teach him English and Arabic from year one. Now, the language in our age, in this knowledge age, is programs.
Programming, yes.
Programming is the language.
The understanding to put logic into some application.
Exactly. So it should be taught like any other language. Number two, about 10 years ago, I started asking for every country to undertake the process of total and comprehensive digital transformation. Everything in this world has to become digitalized. And since we're talking about this subject specifically, I'm talking about digitalization of education.
Okay. Yes.
We should be able to study, to deal, to trade, to do everything in our life digitally. I was very lucky because I started in my life in the knowledge age, and I took my first computer program when I was only. It was in the year 62.
Oh, wow.
So,
on the big mainframes.
And I realized at that, of course, it was a course by IBM.
Of course, yeah.
And it was in a country, in a city called High Wycombe, outside London. Again, I didn't have any money, and I borrowed the money to go to this course. And I realized that this is the beginning of a new era of life. Just like we had the agricultural age and the industrial age and the mechanical age, now we're going into the knowledge age. And to go into the knowledge age, you have to be inventive, innovative. And it's by fortune, as I think I was saying, that I attended a conference in Los Angeles. It was on by Time Warner, and it talked about that the theory that the most important asset in the world is going to be ideas, and that the most valuable product is an idea. Not quantitative, it's not substantive, it's virtual. A virtual idea can be worth a whole country. So I heard the word intellectual property. That intellectual property is going to be the mover, the engine that will change this world. I never heard the word before until I was at that conference. So I decided to teach myself. And I searched in every way possible to find out about what intellectual property is and what it's meant for. And that's why I was lucky, because I happened to be, in that respect, unique in this part of the world, that I was selected to be on the committee for formulating intellectual property principles at the United Nations World Organization, WIPO, World Intellectual Property Organization. And it was a learning process for me. And thanks to America, who invented theory that an invention can be defined and should be defined and should be owned and should be protected. So thus the theory of intellectual property laws came into existence, and I proudly participated in the formulation of intellectual property laws in the countries, the Arab world and beyond. The formulation of these laws is an education in itself, because it tells you that for anything to be owned by you as an inventor, you must disclose it. You cannot own something and say, I will not let you know about it. So if you invent, let's say, a medicine, and you say, I have this invention and it's beautiful, it works, it does, but I'm not going to tell you how I made it. It cannot be protected. So the first requirement for protection is full disclosure. Mm-hmm. This is very important, because this means that all the inventions of the world are available for you to look at,
right,
and work on them. You have...
Get inspired by them.
Of course. You know, every invention in the world that is protected is
out there for study.
It's available for you to look at, to study, and to steal it, provided that there are certain periods for its protection.
Right.
For example, in patents and inventions of pharmaceuticals, etc., it's 20 years.
20 years, yes.
After 20 years, I can reproduce anything in the world on condition that I can produce it in a new name.
Right, that's it.
But you change the name.
Right.
That's why you see countries, manufacturers keep changing Panadol Fast, Panadol...
or Adol, yeah.
To keep the name alive. So there is a wealth of knowledge available for any researcher to work on any invention and turn it into a new invention. This, we're talking about inventions that are already 20 years expired.
The patent is expired.
But for the unexpired, anything that is registered now, today, just today, anything registered today, I have the right to have access to it. And I can see how can I develop this invention in any way that makes it different and innovative. So people think that the scope or the world of innovation is finished because everything has been invented. Aeroplanes are invented, cars are invented, microphones are invented, everything is invented. No, sir. Every invention, if you change it in a way that makes it different doesn't mean anything except this is green, I can make it blue. It's a new invention. And any invention that you develop to become different and useful if it is not a use, for example, if I invent eyeglasses, that you can put the eyeglass in reverse, you put it here, it's not useful.
Yes.
So
there's no market for it.
There's no market, exactly, marketable.
Yeah.
It has to be marketable. So you can imagine that how many millions of opportunities are there for innovation.
It's out there waiting for people to just pick it
up. For
up.
example, I now filed a new patent as my own invention.
Okay.
Just to innovate, to show everybody in the world that you can do anything. I had a problem in my early years of schooling. I had to carry on my back for 5 hours, 2 hours and a half going and 2 hours and a half back, coming back from school to my village, because there was no other way for me except walking. It was a heavy burden, but it was a good exercise. And it's a good sport. But anyway, there should be a way to give up this load of books and study without having to carry books. So I invented an electronic book. It's a small tablet, a small size tablet, in which you have all the courses and books and material to be studied, inputted. You put it in this computer, and through this tablet, you can read all what you want to read, and you carry all the books in the world. I'm not talking about the book computer, no. This is a school book, which the student carries, and he does not use it except to study. Because I've been talking to families, parents are very worried about giving their children who are 5 or 6 years an electronic document which they can call or like look at pornography or chat. They want a book. This is simply and only a book, but it's an electronic book, and it's called Tag Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, electronic book, Tag e-book. It is an electronic book, and you buy it once for the student, and he carries it for all his years, the same document, the same device. This device, you input the books of this year, and next year you input the material of study for the next year. And you don't have to reprint, and you don't have to reproduce a book. It's there for life. And all you do is electronically, you can introduce electronically anything into this. And it is used only as a book. Mm-hmm. Now, this invention, it's a very simple invention, and I filed it at the World Intellectual Property Office in New York in my name, and it is now under production for the first time. And it was inspired by many ministers of education who were concerned that we have to build millions of books every year, because they have to build the books for this year, for grade 1, for grade 2, for grade 3, for grade 4. Every year. You don't have to print any books. Electronically, I can input any number of books in this gadget. So the advantage is, first, it saves the costs of first of authoring the books, of printing the books, of buying the books, of shipping the books, of keeping the books, etc. Now, this is only part of a digital transformation process. And this would not have been possible if I talked about it 10 or 20 years ago. Because we needed, before going into that stage, we need to have first teachers who are able to cope with this change, and that they don't teach with a book, and they don't carry a book themselves, and they can understand how to manipulate and navigate through this device. Secondly, it has to be prepared by programmers.
Oh.
So you need to have programmers. Now, fortunately, we have adequate programmers. We have hundreds of programmers in our own organization only. So there are hundreds of programmers all over the world. Millions of programs. So you can program. All you need is you give me the text. I've changed it into program, and I put it in this device, and you carry it in your bag if you're a lady, or with your hands, and you go around. And your children are very comfortable because he doesn't have to take a gadget which is also an electronic, because it's not electronic. It's electronic in the sense that it has you have a proactive relationship with the books only.
Right.
It's a book, but it's an electronic book. So I think we will be introducing this year, next year, to the students all over the world, because it has no language. This gadget has no language. It can be used for any language depending on the programmer who will develop the program. So this is part of the thing. But to tell you a story, about 20 years ago, we started in one of our offices teaching programming and teaching digital technologies. And I received a letter from the Minister of Education telling me, we came to know that you are addicted to addiction. You have the addiction to using online education, which is not allowed by law. So you have to stop that.
By law? What law?
By his law.
Okay.
Exactly. You got it right. It's by his law.
Right.
Because I said, sorry, but I am happy to announce that I will continue to use digital and online education. And if you have a quarrel with me, let's settle it at court. When he started exploring the possibilities for settling at court, he discovered that there is no court who can look at a virtual issue. Because when I am online, I am not in this world, it's another world. But I have learned this because in one of my positions, as in 2001, the United Nations decided to formulate policies for internet use.
True, yep. The ITU, was it?
It's the ICT.
ICT.
United Nations ICT Task Force.
Right.
And the Secretary General of the United Nations, it was Kofi Annan at that time, called a meeting of countries, ambassadors, major companies in the business of electronic communication, and it's both ICT, telecommunication, and ICT, information technology and telecommunication. And I attended this meeting. in one of my capacities. And lucky enough, I was elected to chair this task force, and I was its chairman for 4 years. And we formulated the policies for internet. And the first lesson I learned is that you cannot deal with me, you cannot touch me because I'm not in your world. When I am in the virtual world. You know, the strongest power in the world, his name is Donald Trump. When he had his argument with Zuckerberg, who cut him short on one of his accounts, he could not sue him.
Yeah.
Because the American law, American Constitution, provides protection for development and operation in the virtual world. And so the first lesson I was talking about when we were formulating the policies, and I said something that we should have a law. The ambassador of the United States said, Mr. Chairman, you have to remember that you are in another world. When you are in the digital world, there is no law.
Their jurisdiction is different.
There is no jurisdiction.
There is no jurisdiction, yes.
There are no boundaries.
True.
There are no courts. It's another world. You cannot put any. All you can talk about is how to do the development part of it. But you cannot formulate policies in the virtual world. So the poor minister who decided to stop me from being a digital organization, which is what we are. We are Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, global digital.
Yeah, that's why you were able to respond to him, that minister.
I said, sorry, let's go to court because you're warning me that it's against the law. Let's go to court.
What was the basis behind him coming after you? Like the motivation, let's say, or the intention?
The motivation is ignorance. He didn't know that he has no right to stop any online education, to stop any digital education. This is another world. It doesn't belong to him. It doesn't belong to anybody. You cannot stop communications in the virtual world electronically. You can control what is in the book, touched book, and in the classroom. But this is what, you remember Corona?
Of course.
We were the only company I know of who had its best year during the Corona era.
How so?
Because we were already digital.
Right. You were prepared.
We were prepared. And people didn't want to listen. I have already circulated at that time documents saying how you can do everything in spite of the barrier of going physically around.
To the office, yeah.
We didn't have to change anything because our staff had their electronic experience, they digitally trained, the programs were there, the machines were there, everything was there. So the idea is we had to learn and teach ourselves that we need, and this is where I want to emphasize, we need a way of bringing awareness. Before education, you need to make people aware that they need to be educated. If you don't create this feeling, which unfortunately is in many countries in the world before us, and
we're very much behind. Yeah. The feeling to learn, the eagerness to learn.
I was talking about digitally. Nonsense. Doesn't work. I was giving a speech and they're talking about the advantages of going digital education. And one charming lady said, "Sir, what is this you're talking about? You are this way barring me from meeting my future husband.
Oh.
How do I meet if we don't study in the same group school, talk to each other in the same university, or meet?"
Now universities is a Tinder. So let me ask you this question, Talal. So you mentioned education, which I love that you've because education and innovation are two faces of the same coin. You cannot innovate if you're not educated enough, and you cannot innovate if you don't have the eagerness to learn and be curious and actually learn how to fail and fail fast and then get up, like your story. The thing that I'm seeing now more than ever, let's say in the recent at least 5 years, is that, like you said, education became a commodity. If I need to learn anything, I can go online. I don't need to subscribe to a university. I don't need to do anything. I just learn. So the amount of people that are able to innovate and invent are far more than before.
Absolutely.
But then there's a limitation. You mentioned about your invention, which you patented, and that is obviously because you have the resources. Whatever the resources are, money, capital, and so on and so forth. When you look at the Global Innovation Index, and just to bring it back to the quantitative way of why we're lagging behind, there are three main, as I said, quantitative measures that measures where we are and how can we move forward. As I mentioned, there's the patent applications and there's the research publications, but those two have a prerequisite, which is the amount of capital invested in innovation, in, let's say, seed funding, entrepreneurs, and so on and so forth. Where are we from that perspective? Let's say people with capital investing in entrepreneurs who are eager, young, energetic, and want to do things and find some VC money. Where are we on this?
I have news for you. All the richest people in the world were poor. They did not invent or become great because they had money. They did not. The poverty and the need is a great asset. That's one of my assets, is that I always needed, as the song says, people who need people are the luckiest people. I started because you said I had the resources. No, sir. When I started the firm, my office was my car, used old car. In the boot, I had the books and files. And we used to meet on the side of a street with my colleagues who were with me to start the process. It is, you don't need wealth in the knowledge world. And because now we have to we need to talk about, when we talk about innovation.
Yes.
And I am the chairman of the network of innovation in the Arab world. When you talk about innovation, you talk about ICT innovation.
Yes.
Manual innovation and capital resources innovation is useless. It's there, it's good, but it doesn't make you rich. The wealth comes only from digital innovation.
Agreed.
And we have to be always very clear about this. Because unless you can produce a product which can sell worldwide and digitally,
yes,
it is not worth it.
At this age, yes, I agree.
And it's in the knowledge age. So what you need is to be innovative. And that is the trick in any success. We invented as a firm in our years over 70 inventions. I talked about the last invention. But we invented a lot of things that made us what we are. what I'm trying to say here is we don't pride in our wealth. We don't have wealth. We have innovation. We are innovative. And our clients, governments and staff and companies come to us because we have new ideas and how to solve problems. And now, for example, the most important product that we are selling, the most demanded product is cybersecurity.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that.
It's easy to invent a machine, but how to protect, and I will tell you about an actual case.
Yes.
Only 2 months ago, when we were, Hisham, when we were hit our internet, كم شهر لما انضرب الاتاك اللي صار
A month ago, you had the cyber attack. Yeah.
cyber attack كان قبل شهر. We had this attack.
Yeah.
It took us 2 hours to recover from it, because we had first firewalls to protect.
Firewalls, redundancies, active. Yeah.
And we had also what we have developed is a system whereby everything that is in the system is recorded and hidden in another place.
Right. Physically and yeah.
So we had
layers of geo-redundancy, layers of active.
All we had is to just reactivate it, and we're in business.
And it's replicated.
If we didn't, we would have done this.
It's not just the technology, it's even the process to replicate. But my question to you, Talal, is now we're at a place where when I meant resources, I didn't mean when you started. Of course, this is where entrepreneurs shine because they are resourceful. They don't need resources to have ideas. But then to bring their ideas to life, sometimes they need manpower, they need capital, they need investments, and the one of the things that if I compare, let's compare, I'll talk about my own city, Dubai. So let's compare between Dubai and Los Angeles. And even normalize to the GDP and to the population, even after normalizing, Los Angeles is spending in investment in VC money 10 times more than Dubai, approximately. I mean, people can fact check.
And Dubai is 10 times other cities in the region.
That's what I'm trying to say, exactly. And Dubai obviously is trying and it's progressing and there's clear growth trajectories to reach to a certain place. But I can't see it anywhere else. So if I look at Jordan as my own country, and I want to make sure that this country has a trajectory. I'm not talking about the current state, because like you said, the current state is the current state. But if there's a trajectory, at least I can have hope for the future. But what I see is hopelessness because of the lack of systems and processes that can transfer that wealth from those wealthy people to those entrepreneurs so they can produce wealth. Because there are two types of creating value, right? There's value transfer and there's value creation. I'm not into value transfer, like for example, real estate and finance. Those are value transfer industries, which is fine. Entrepreneurship specifically is the creating something out of nothing, which is the value creation process. And that's entrepreneurship. But that needs nurturing from those capital sources, let's say the VC and otherwise. Where are we on that specific process in our region, generally, and in Jordan specifically?
You're touching on a very important subject, and it's the subject of how to transfer and to make an idea a thing. This is something. This is very basic. That we need. And one of the first products we worked on with UNDP is to develop a kit for helping any inventor to make his invention work as a product. and becomes marketable. And similarly, in many of my positions at the formulation bodies, policy bodies in the world, we formulated ideas for how, if you have invented a new idea, an innovation, and you can't manage anything about because you don't have the resources or the means or power, etc., how you can make it a product and make money. And we have rules for this, and we have also programs for this. And this is what should be taught and explained, that if you don't have the money, you can either sell your idea.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
The Pakistani guy who was in the Emirates and who invented Uber.
Yeah, Kareem.
He how much? 10 billion?
Yes, they bought it for
to sell an idea and become a major investor himself.
Yes.
So you can either sell or you can market it as a product for yourself and take the patience to build and grow, or also to make it like a franchise. I own it, but I give you the license to use it. And if you use it, you can make money. So I make money by allowing you to make money and give me part of the money you make. There are many different ways in how to make an idea a product.
But here's the thing, because I have a friend of mine who is actually a client who has an idea, and he wanted to either build it or, like you say, patent it so he can monetize out of it. Either way, it's very expensive.
No.
So either way, patenting it is not expensive?
No. We are the largest patenting firm in the world. And it is expensive if you want to register your patent in every country in the world.
Right.
But if I decide to, because my business is going to be in the Emirates, so I only protect it in the Emirates. But if I want to protect it in China and in the US at the same time, etc., it depends.
Then it becomes expensive. Okay. But okay, so let's say I want to protect it, but then there's no guarantee for me to go somewhere and sell this idea, because it's still an idea. People are more interested in the doing, not in the thinking. And especially now, you can go to ChatGPT and ask it, give me 10 ideas and then build on it. And so the patenting is usually a stepping stone. So when you go to an investor and ask for, let's say, fund to build on your idea, the investor knows that no one else can steal your idea, and therefore their investment is some sort of safe. But what's the process in getting those funds for me as an entrepreneur, let's say, or for any entrepreneur who's listening now, to get that fund? I'll give you a small example. For example, in Los Angeles, there's the Sand Hill Road, which is the road of all the VCs and all the capital money that flows into you go there, you just knock a couple of doors and you get money. You have programs like the YC, the Y Combinator, right? You have we hear about incubators and accelerators. We hear about programs, but then every time I speak to entrepreneurs, they tell me these are either performative, or they're actually real estate companies that just want you to pay for the space that you come and do a co-sharing space. So there's no real meaning behind taking an idea and then actually building it all the way with the necessary funding and governance, right? All the way to see it to fruition. And that is very clear when you compare it with, let's say, Switzerland or even Singapore again, or any other place in the world other than in I'll tell you what, if you look at the Global Innovation Index map, you will see the heat map. you will see the Far East, it's red. The Far West is red. Europe is red. And we are extremely blind spot.
That's correct.
So what can, I mean, because I mean, again, your passion is innovation. Your passion is intellectual property. Personally, and I'm a student of innovation and student of economic growth, I don't see things happening.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No problem. ما في شيء. لا ما بدي ارتاح. لا انا برتاح بالشغل.
هناك مرتاح.
انا لما اشتغل برتاح. انت مش شايف اني انا هلا احسن من الصبح. عن جد خصوصا لما يكون حوار حلو هيك. سامع يا معلمي؟ امتى حتبدا؟ بس اقول لك ولا انت شغال؟ شغال؟ ما في مشكلة.
راحتكم
ما في مشكلة. لا خلاص I'm fine. حبيبنا. This is we come back as I started by saying public awareness. We need in this part of the world to create a knowledge of the opportunities and how to transform these opportunities into reality. We need a lot of education. We spend time in schools teaching history, geography, poetry, etc., which is all in the books, and you don't have to teach it. Because if you want to know how many countries are members of the European Union, push a button, it gives you the number.
Oh.
What is the GDP of any country? Push a button, you get who is the richest person in the world? You don't need to study any facts. You need to create facts. The art is how to create facts, how to create ideas, and not to remember and learn about. All our teaching is unfortunately a matter of remembering things,
recalling and rote. Yeah.
And when I was,
Einstein said it, right? If it's in the book, I don't want to. I don't want to remember it.
Well, I don't have to remember it.
And that's Einstein. Imagine now we have ChatGPT.
Exactly. Do you want to know who is Talal Abu-Ghazaleh? You press at GPT, ask GPT who is Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, and you will find more than I know about myself. It's true.
That's true. It's true. It's true. So it's funny that you find tests that actually. Yeah.
So it's a question of we need to change our education system. Number two, we need to change our media system. If I have to tell the world about something in technology, there isn't a paper that is willing to carry it. They don't publish it. It's not interesting. It doesn't bring you have to pay for it.
Yes.
If I have a news information useful, which I want to give the press now, okay, because I'm in a different position. I'm talking about a person. Normally, if he wants to pass on information, you have to pay for it.
And it's who's who. Yeah.
So our media should emphasize that they are media is part of the knowledge revolution. So media should be an agent in the knowledge revolution and not just a carrier. They should help in producing knowledge and helping knowledge. It is really sad, even now at our state, well, until 10 years ago, no public journal or a newspaper or magazine would carry any of our news, of our success stories. If I'm deserve to be, for example, we for every year we win the prize for being the best school for teaching Chinese. This is a fact.
This is a fact. Okay.
Every year we are the best school in the world for teaching Chinese.
Oh wow!
Yes.
Is that for real?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes. I will give. We'll take a note of this, and we will give you
The best school in the world to teach Chinese.
Chinese. And we have the prize.
The undergrad, right? The undergraduates, or is it?
No, we have a special school called Talal Abu-Ghazaleh Confucius.
Right.
But jointly with China, we are the only partnership with China. We are a firm that is in partnership with the government of China, because China only have partnership with governments, but we're the exception. And since I learned that in future we need to know about China, I decided to start by teaching, by learning, and I put my children and my grandchildren in Chinese schools to learn, in addition to English, which of course is still the language of the world, but to learn Chinese. And we were asked by the Chinese to teach Chinese. So we have our institute downstairs, which teaches Chinese. And we are offered the prize by China government every year for being the best school for teaching
And
Chinese.
that's not publicized in the media?
No, because they tell you this is publicity. See, the media always looks only at bad news or good or news of money but no, we cannot publish this. This is publicity for you. You have to pay for it. Now, no. Because we have reached what we have reached.
Because you have influence and obviously
we don't have
network.
this problem.
Yeah.
Don't have this problem. But
you're the exception to the rule.
Normally, it's unfortunate that they will not carry news of business.
Yes.
Except if you pay for it. You are a businessman. You have money. You are making money. You have to pay for this. Now, this is unfortunate, but
so education and media,
and third is government.
Right, policy.
For example, the Chinese. How did the Chinese? And I'm a student of the Chinese policies. When governments make you pay for export, the Chinese government has been, since 40 years, has been giving money to any company that exports. If you export...
Reverse tax.
It's the reverse tax, exactly.
Yes. I didn't know that.
No, okay.
That's amazing. That's an incentive system.
This is how they could compete.
This is how they proliferate their devices and technology all over the world. Oh, wow.
I give you...
As opposed to just paying taxes.
So what I mean to say is governments should support initiatives for digital transformation and not think of how to make it a source of income, because they have to think of digitalization as an agent as exactly you said, for money creation, for wealth creation, for prosperity. You are not just making money. I am making, but doing this, I am helping in the development of the country.
Yes.
So we need to look at laws. For example, again, what is the taxation system in the U.S. or in many other countries for digital companies?
I'm not aware of
Zero.
Oh.
How did Amazon and Apple and grow to
Valley
become?
generally,
Because they don't submit tax returns. They don't have a tax system. They're not taxable because they are in space. Now, a government should provide for anybody who is in digital industry to be exempt from taxation. This is again a responsibility of the responsible of governments. Governments should not encourage and give me money, no, but at least not tax me.
Yes.
Don't tax me if I'm creating something new.
Don't put frictions in front of my way. So education, media, and government.
And governments. Now, number 4 is laws.
Right.
Laws like, for example, that would facilitate the business of commercialization of invention, what we call commercialization of invention.
Yes.
How? If I invent something new and I want to put it in the market, you should give me 5 or 10 years tax exemption.
Yes.
This is helping it. 2, 3, should tell banks that you should provide funding.
Facilitation,
Funding for projects which are in the field of innovation. There are laws that help in this process that can help me move and go beyond the barriers, the different barriers of trading. In this sense, this is very important for companies who are starting.
Yes, I'm talking about very starting, like first 5 years, first 6 years, 7 years,
Now, we developed, to make this discussion easier, we developed a brochure which tells you how to become a business, from an idea to a business. And this is now available, and we give it to our friends and clients, etc. And we help those who want help on this. So we show you how, first, to make your invention a product.
Right.
Secondly, how you can develop an accounting system.
Yes, which is very important.
And how
startups
to
fail
develop
because of
a marketing campaign,
yes,
etc., etc.
customer acquisition. Yes,
and the process of growing from we call it guide for small and medium business size companies.
Is there like an online portal people can submit to, and there's a selection process? Or?
Yes, it's available for anybody to.
What's how many people submit to you? Let's say every month, or do you have the numbers? Or
I don't have it available, but what we we have, because we are a combination of things. Some of them come to us to help them with a product. They say, I want to give you this product, and I want you to help me how to do it.
Yeah.
Some people, they just tell me how to do it, and I want to do it.
Right.
I don't want your involvement. I mean, in other words, some come for consulting, and some come for ideas, and some come for asking real help.
And what's the business model for you as a company? What's the business model for you? Do you make money out of it? Is there like subscription or consulting, or is it equity share? Or?
We make money on the registration,
right,
and protection and patents, etc.
Of their patents, okay.
And on the process of protection, which is after the protection achieved, we protect you from any infringement.
Right. Right.
But unfortunately, we don't make money on the commercialization because the governments in our part of the world do not help with that.
How so?
they make this process difficult because you are either the owner or not. Who's the owner?
But you can be an investor, right? If
No,
you own a
we
10%.
don't understand. We understand that there is an owner. Who is the owner?
But if you have, let's say, 10% equity, let's say, by the way, do you have a capital arm, like say VC arm in your group of companies?
We have a policy which is probably unique, that we only invest in our own projects.
Your own projects.
We don't invest. We give consulting.
So let's say if there's someone, graduating from the University of Jordan University or anywhere else, and they have an idea and they want capital. Let's say they want to have, 200,000 JDs for 10% or 20% equity as a seed. Can they come to you and they'll be able to work with, Talal Abu-Ghazaleh, group of companies?
The concept of commercialization consulting is not acceptable because this is not your business. This is the business of a bank or an investor, and which one of you are, or a consultant.
So you can open an investor arm, which is the capital arm, and start supporting those.
Then we become part of the competition, and we lose our independence. We have never invested in any competitive product for $1. That's why we are completely neutral and independent.
Agnostic.
But we cannot.
That's why you cannot, because, okay.
We can.
Even if you have an ambidextrous organization that's completely...
We can refer you, for example, somebody comes to me with a pharmaceutical invention.
Yes. Which is very costly, right?
We put him in touch with one of the pharmaceutical companies.
As an investor?
As an investor.
Okay.
And we help both himself and the company to study the feasibility of commercializing this project and how to merge together.
Is there an established process for people to follow, or it's just as it comes?
It's in the book.
In that brochure, right.
The small and medium-sized guide.
Okay.
Book.
So if I ask you now, as obviously a prominent figure, an influential figure, and someone who people look up to, as someone who came out of the ashes of the early age with absolutely no resources, definitely you're an outlier. I mean, no one can, it's not something that is replicable. Your story is not replicable. I know the story of perseverance, the story of grit, the story of not just having a goal, having a mission, like you mentioned.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So that's not something replicable in the traditional sense. What's replicable is a process that people can follow, which is, develop, let's say, a PowerPoint slide that has the problem, the solution, the market, all of this, and then the team, and then the ask, and then send this in this format. Make sure that you know what you're talking about. Make sure that everything is falsifiable with evidence and so on and so forth. Submit it for a fund. The fund is, like 50, 100, 200 million JDs. We can support you for 18 months. If you fail, there are certain, and then obviously you being the IP company, you can say, if you don't do according to the milestones, we will take that idea from you and own it. So we'll give it to someone else because you fell short and you were not able to, and that's our return, and so on and so forth. From my research, and again, I could be wrong here, and this is where I need your insight. Where are we from that process? As a systematized process, let's say specifically in Jordan, we have the amount of graduates from all the universities in Jordan is unbelievably higher, relatively speaking, to the population if we compare it to any parts of the world. And yet the amount of innovation coming from Jordan is, by the way, we have more brain export than we have actual idea export, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So, and every time I speak to someone who is leaving the region is because they feel helpless. How can what can we do to just mitigate that? At least even if it's a 10-year project, what can we do to mitigate that?
It is a multi-year project. It has to be built properly. What we need is, unfortunately, I would say, is more than any other government ministry is an innovation ministry.
Sorry?
Innovation ministry.
Innovation ministry, yes.
In one of the countries, I'm not talking about Jordan, one of our Arab countries, the minister came up, one minister came and said, sir, we have a ministry for innovation. I said, yes, but I really wanted to be a ministry for innovation. What it turns out that you have, if you go and look at it, is a ministry where they register innovations. This is not a ministry of innovation. This is Ministry of Trade or Industry or whatever you want to call it. I'm talking about a ministry that promotes, encourages, and guides innovation through all the means we talked about. Education.
Yes.
I have heard of so many leadership projects. How to become a leader, how to create leadership organization, but not innovation.
Yes.
I have not seen a school or university that teaches innovation. Innovation is the only future source of wealth and power and success.
Indeed.
And we completely ignore it. Money does not come by buying or by selling. Not anymore.
Not anymore, exactly, yes.
It comes from innovation. Yes. You develop an idea, one idea, like Amazon. The idea of selling online, very simple. And it becomes an empire. Now, everything in this is, again, we go back to the culture and awareness. Culture, we need an awareness culture that the future is innovation. The future is innovation. I am now asked by a group in Jordan, I'm asked by colleagues to lead, and this is happening now, today. Now I'm being asked to lead a project for how to innovate Jordan, how to create the Jordan of the future. And this is my hobby, innovation, change, the future. As I always tell everybody, the only stable thing and permanent thing is change.
Yes.
Only change is permanent. Nothing is permanent except change. We need to teach how you can innovate. What is innovation? Mm-hmm. People don't understand. Innovation, I sit like this, look at the moon and become an inventor. No, sir. It's information technology and telecommunication. You have to be a telecommunication and information technology expert to innovate. Therefore, the first step is to study how to be that, how to be able to create a program and how to develop this program, or take any program and develop it.
Make it better.
And there is
make it different,
a wealth of this.
Yes.
The thing starts with in this part of the world, you come with an innovation, and I get these complaints from innovators always, all the time. If you come up with an idea of how to build the building and the study, they will say, okay, I'll join you. But if you have an idea, which is an idea, nobody is interested in investing in ideas.
Yes. Thank you. Like you look at the all of the asset classes for like when I study the capital markets, and especially the asset under management and all of those different asset classes that the asset under management flows into. You have the public markets, you have the gold, you have the real estate, you have sometimes crypto, but then you have VC, which I know as an asset class is the biggest predictor for innovation, but then the innovation is, like you said, the biggest predictor for economic prosperity. So it starts from there. Now, I know that I've read a report a few months ago that says that now most of asset under management is going into, or at least 38% of asset under management is now turning into VC and venture capital and startups, simply because of the advent of AI. And now they're seeing people are able to have a higher success rate when they do innovation within the startup ecosystem. But what I'm not seeing is a systematized process, like you said, like a guide for people. We have tens of thousands of graduates. What are we doing to tell them? We not tell them how to do it. We tell them what they need to do. Okay, you have an idea. Come, submit it here.
Yes.
It will be evaluated. And then based on the evaluation, which has to be objective, has to be clear, according to a rubric that is very clear, we will give you a funding of, I don't know, like 200,000 JDs for 8 months. You are free to hire 5-6 people, build on a product and the idea. However, if you don't succeed, we will take that intellectual property and becomes us. For example, for an exchange of 15%. That system, which should have governance, which should have compliance, because it's a change of hand and lots of money, right? People can abuse it easily. Do we have that process in place?
No.
What stops us from creating it?
Again, although I'm an old man, and people at my age, they either retire or go on fishing. I'm now working on the first global digital education system.
Mm-hmm.
And this, I don't mean a school that would help you take a degree.
Yeah.
I mean a project that would help you become an innovator. And I have offers for partnership from major organizations. It's a project which will be a global project. It's not for a country, and I don't have to register it in any country because it's in the virtual world. And all it is about is how to teach you to become digital. You have, in order to invent, you have to reinvent yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You have to become digital. You have to think digital. You have to write digital. You have to walk digital.
But Talal,
and I don't mean online.
The Gen Z
Unfortunately,
people are already digital, aren't they?
But the confusion, especially, and it's very damaging. They confuse being digital with online.
Right.
Online is just sending this through the internet, this document. This is online. I am writing something and I send it as an email or etc. No, being digital is using the ICT technologies and telecommunication technologies in the operation. Now, we are working. It's now 1 week. This is a very new project. And I still think of new projects. This is a very new project. We are thinking of building this institute of technology digitally. There is no classroom, there is no, and it's in English only. So you have to know English first. You have to study English and have a certificate that you are fluent in order to join this program. And you can join it. And this is the most important point I want to make. We should target the global south.
Yes.
Which represents 80% of humanity.
Of humanity, exactly.
And this has been neglected. And it will be even now neglected more because of the political restrictions and of the different conflicts in the countries. People are not even able to get visas.
Yes.
Let alone not have the money to travel and leave the work, etc. No, this
is borderless.
And it's a complete system. For example, yes, we have a certificate that you have finished elementary school, and secondary education and university education. But there is not any course in that process which teaches anything except digital.
Right.
Not teaching it digitally. We don't teach geography. We don't teach any other subject. We only teach how to become a digital human being. And we test you on that only. And everything is digitally.
Is it a parallel education system to the traditional one?
Completely new education system. This is what I said. You have to start a new education system. And this education system is not subject to any ministry because it's virtual. I don't need your certification.
This is a threat to the entire education system, don't you think?
But that's what it is.
Right.
If you want to be in the knowledge world, you have to educate the knowledge world.
It goes back to your theory of creating enemies.
You cannot go on creating a knowledge world when you have books printed every year.
Traditional, yeah.
And then the next year you have to either print the same book. And by that time, I was saying that knowledge used to be in 1960, every 2 years, world knowledge doubles.
Yeah.
Every 2 years. Now every 2 days.
True.
Every 2 days, the world knowledge is multiplied by 2. You cannot learn it. You cannot follow it.
There's no point in learning
No,
it.
the point
whatever
in
you learn
learning.
will become obsolete. Yeah.
Therefore, we need to be digital human beings. You need to create digital persons, not just digital machines, not just equipment, and not just the same, doing the same thing, but with different tools.
Yes.
No, we have to change things, and as they say always. Unfortunately, you cannot do that with the same. It's not intelligent to do things, to keep doing things the same way, expecting to get different results.
Yes, it's insanity, yeah.
You cannot.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, what we're trying to do with this very imaginative project is you get a certificate and you don't learn anything except how to be digital. And your certification is a process of making you a digital human being until you are fully digital.
What is that? What is being digital?
That you write digitally, you work digitally, you communicate digitally, you develop your work and the business digitally,
okay.
You protect yourself digitally.
Right.
Digital is about everything we do.
So it's like digital literacy now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's why we call it total digital transformation.
Right.
Total digital transformation. It's not, if you are able to transform the government into an electronic government.
Like Sanad here? It's called Sanad here?
No, it's not possible, because if 10% of the people are not digital,
yes,
it means 10% are not not your citizens.
True.
They are not citizens.
True.
So you have also to be able to make every student, every person digital. You have to make every member of the government digital, every teacher digital. It's a digital transformation process. It's not a digital teaching process. It's transformation.
Very clear. So, okay. So let me switch gears into now education specifically, but not any education. I'll talk about the research publication, because research and innovation usually are two faces of the same coin. Google is a research paper. Most of the battery in Tesla is a research paper. All of the big inventions in the world actually came out of university labs, whether it's humanities or natural sciences. We have no shortage of universities in Jordan, but we have an absolute shortage in research. I mean, I'm a student of innovation and research myself, but I'm UK educated. When I compare my education and my knowledge acquisition from the UK to my peers here in Jordan, let's say Jordan University or Jordan University of Science and Technology, Yarmouk University, whatever it is, a big university or small universities, they still have normal in PhD. I'm talking about PhD and postgraduate studies, which is supposed to be the crème de la crème of knowledge production. Why is it not research? Why is it not on the research, let's say, arena worldwide?
Because we are still doing research in a non-knowledge world. We are doing research in the old world with the old tools. What is research at universities? You go and study a subject and write about it. This is not research.
Yeah.
We need to transform research into innovation.
Yes.
Research is not useful anymore. The word research is I'm sorry for you that you studied research, but research, as we said, you don't need to research because it's there. The search has been done. Then we have a knowledge media. We have a knowledge world. All the information in the world is in the internet. When I looked at what the GTP wrote about me, I found out they know about me more than I know about myself because they have access to my information and my resources.
But what about critical thinking?
That's it.
How will I know? Because research in my mind is about finding a problem, so problem finding the significance of the problem, so whether it's important or not, but then being able to search for evidences and collect data and synthesize data, so I'm able to find themes and patterns to come to a conclusion.
You're still talking about traditional research.
Okay.
I am not interested in that.
How do I know? How do I know?
It's not my business. My business is how to create something new. You cannot do things at the same time.
Okay.
These two things. If you want to research, find out and analyze and write your ideas and so on, this is research. Forget it. I'm not interested in that.
But most inventions and it came from accidental research in labs, don't you think?
They did not come from research. They come from innovation. Invention is innovation. There is no research that leads. I'm very sorry. Most of the countries, and I know, and not every country that I know, research means to go and study, either on your own or to go on a mission to another country.
If it's
This is not research.
No, research is finding a problem, whatever it is.
No, finding a problem digitally. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So digitally, fine. Yeah.
Then it's not research because digitally is a different. It's a different concept. You have to. That's why I was when my children were still young. We were talking about this digital, and I'm talking about this 60 years ago. When my children were there, and we were talking about this subject. We see them playing with their machines, with their computers. So I said, why don't you join our discussion? You could learn something new. He said, they said, but who told you we are not? We are joining you through our digital world. You now have two lives. The real life, which is research, call it, research approach, and the virtual life, which is the digital world. In the digital world, you don't examine things. You take a thing and focus on how to make it better. How does this operate? I want to study this, not to do a research, which is the best microphone, but to take a microphone and to decide how to develop it. and to develop it not through searching in the market and making a study, no, through analyzing it and making a better product. So in the knowledge world, research has become innovation.
Yes.
There is no need for writing research papers. Research papers are written and put on the shelf.
For people, it's like patents, for people to build on, right? And that's the point. I mean, how else can we cure diseases if we're not able to research? And how else can we justify and make sure? So the peer review process, for example, is one of the things that can guarantee...
That's real world, Mambal. We're living two lives. I'm not saying that we should dismiss that. Okay. I'm saying you have two lives.
Okay.
We don't realize it, that we are living two lives. When we are connected, we are in another world. And we are living another life. But we are here, we sit together, we drink together, we walk together, we laugh, etc. This is another life. Children have the advantage now of living two lives. Because, many parents complain that their children are getting addicted to the computer. I keep telling them, so why not? They are in the other life. They are living there. They're not dead. They're not dull. They are living another life. Like we live our life in the real world, they're living a life. So research is good for certain purposes in the real world. But in the digital age, you need innovation and not research.
But isn't research and innovation two faces of the same coin?
There is no link between them at all. Research is to find out what is there and study it, analyze it, compare it, and so on.
As a process?
ما فيش process. The research, if you go back to your university, and I'm sure you came out of a great university, because I can tell your distinction, and you know what you're talking about. If you will see that all the research papers are there and filed, and that's not one of them is transformed to a product.
Not all of them.
All of them. I think you will not find all of them.
The Google is a research paper. Published.
No. That Google is an innovation.
Yes.
It's not
it's the two PhDs that did the
No. The innovation.
Okay, fact checked me.
The innovation replaced the research.
Oh yes. So this is what I'm trying to tell you.
I'm enjoying this intellectual dialogue with you.
Wallahi, I'll tell you what, me too. But I think what I'm trying to say is, innovation is it's not a goal, it's a process, because innovation reached to economic prosperity, and we both agreed that economic prosperity is the goal. We need to make sure that we elevate everybody's lifestyle, so we have enough capital in the market, so when someone wants to sell or someone wants to buy something, there's enough cash circulating around, and that only can happen through value creation. Right? And value creation only comes from innovation, and I agree with you. But one element or one route to innovation is research. It's not the only route. And this is where I agree 100% with you. But research as a process allows us to have critical thinking, because how else can we know?
You know, because you have a database of all innovation in the world.
Yes.
So you need to go to that database. You don't need to do research.
What if I want to create something new?
You cannot. Like what? Everything
a cure for a new disease. Like your pharmaceutical example. This person, for example, who wants to create some sort of a new formula,
yes.
They need to have research. They need to have principles.
That's in the real world, research. There are two words you have.
Okay, so you're focusing only on the digital. Yeah, in that sense, I agree with you.
There are two tracks. They don't lead to each other. The research is a waste of time if you are digitally interested. It's a track different.
Right.
I'm not saying it should not be there, but it's different. Digital innovation is another track. They don't lead to each other.
But the real world can use the digital advancements.
Use my invention.
Yes.
But you're not innovating by using. Using is not innovation. if we're talking about
It's a
innovation,
piece in the puzzle, don't you think?
no,
Because
innovation.
my innovation is like a big canvas, and I need your invention to put it in my piece in the puzzle, right? I mean,
Yeah,
why limit?
if you are using this invention to create a new invention, or you create something out of it, that's another invention. It's not research; it's invention.
Oh, okay. Let's agree. I'll tell you what I completely. I'll tell you what I agree. I agree with what you're saying. Okay, so let me, out of respect of your time,
whoa.
I have to end it. Otherwise, we can stay here for hours.
We end it.
But I'll tell you what. So last thing is, where do you see our region in 5 or 10 years when it comes to innovation, and how to get there?
It depends on. I think the future is going to depend on our new generation, not me and my generation, and not the generation that has created this mess. I can see that the young generation who have access. I have a son, a grandson who is in Silicon Valley, and I have a grandson who is in the Innovation Valley. They know what our region needs. Therefore, I am hopeful that the young generation, and that's why I spend most of my time talking to young people, schools, to universities, and to address them. And I live with them, I love them, and they love me, because they are the hope for the future. Our generation is not able to transform to become digital. Therefore, only digital human beings will be able to do this digital change.
And I'm looking forward to seeing that project of yours, and I'll hope that probably I'll submit to be part of it. But with that...
Yeah, مثلا, why should I spend 18 years to graduate?
True.
If I can graduate in 5 years.
Exactly. With the necessary knowledge that allows me to create value
exactly.
and live and sustain. Exactly. Talal, I don't know what to say. It's been an honor. Thank you very much for your time. And
I learned from your questions more than you learned from my answers.
I'm happy that this is recorded, because to me, that's it. I've done it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.